Lowkey giant.
Shivani Mitra is the managing director and curator for the Museum of Crypto Art. Growing up as a young child, she had a front row seat during the dotcom boom and was inspired by new innovations in tech that quickly changed our modern world. Shivani's vision of the future is one of faith in humans and new tools that bring us closer together.
My earliest childhood memory with technology is sitting in a hardware lab when I was I think 6. And my mom was teaching me how to use a soldering iron to basically connect a transistor to another transistor on a dummy computer chip. My mom studied analog chip design. And so she just wanted to show me the basic melding of metal to a hardware plate that ultimately becomes a building block for a computer.
Lowkey giant.
So my personal experience and journey with technology began at a very early age. I grew up in San Francisco Bay Area with 2 parents who were forged in the dot-com boom, the first internet bubble. And I think I just remember throughout my schooling and even in conversations at home being surrounded by questions and answers and innovation. So, I described going and seeing Intel, in my college essay, and how I saw different people inside a lab, creating computer chips. I remember in high school and middle school, programming was required actually for me. And, over time, I started to see the technology all become morphed into my pop culture, right? Growing up in the 2010s. And so, going for the launch of the first iPhone was something I did with my dad and my brother, because the Apple headquarters was right next to our high school. And the first Apple store to release the iPhone was right next to my high school as well. So from those early years, I didn't really know what I was experiencing, but I have to say, looking back on it, that each of those experiences really informed my ultimate passion for technology as a tool to transform communities and to bring people together in a positive way. And obviously I was naive to it, because over time I have realized that people can use technology in incredibly destructive ways as much as they can use it in incredibly positive ways. So, I then kind of went down the path of going to med school. So I spent 6-7 years in college and right after college doing research in all kinds of reconstructive plastic surgery. I was interested in art. I had majored in art history, and technology kind of took a back burner. And then in 2019, I started to learn about Ethereum. And a lot of these questions I was having around technology, where I had seen FANG, right? Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, become these mega corporations. And the promise I was given as a kid, I didn't really believe it anymore. I just saw these massive organizations controlling people's data and people's lives. Ethereum sparked my interest because it seemed like a whole new incentive system and structure. So then I was okay, I gotta learn about this.
Don't care.
Lowkey giant.
So my thoughts on blockchain, crypto, and NFTs as it relates to community and culture. I'll separate them into kind of 3 little buckets. So the first bucket of my thoughts on generally like blockchain and community and culture is that blockchain technology is designed to make interactions between people transparent, secure, permanent, and recorded. Blockchain technology is designed to make interactions between people transparent, secure, permanent, and recorded. So for a community of people, this can be such an easy way for everyone's interests to not conflict and for a certain kind of principles and set of values to be established from the beginning so that people feel they are, there's accountability and there's ownership. Smart contracts are designed to let people build together. So for a community, this can be really transformative online. Because it just kind of forces everyone in the community to act with a similar set of principles by the nature of the technology itself. I think second bucket for me is, crypto itself is about like freedom of expression and financial empowerment. Crypto itself is about like freedom of expression and financial empowerment for every individual on planet Earth.
Money, money, give me some. Money, money, all the time. Money, money, give me some. Money, money, give me some.
And that itself is a very, very important thing when you start to really look at today's landscape of authoritative governments and banks that control the way that people live their lives. So, culture and crypto are very, very, very important to me. And I think NFTs are really just a Trojan horse for cryptocurrency and the culture of cryptocurrency. And it's a visual language to those values. At the same time now, over the last 2 years, I've seen NFTs go from this kind of cutting edge concept of ownership and art or community building to now it's become like an exercise of people online to start to feel like they belong somewhere or start to accumulate, bragging rights.
Lowkey giant.
That kind of leads to my third bucket, which is, I really do think in between community and culture is where NFTs as fine art or as like digital art or as public art really comes into play. Because it is able to unite people by, the number of them and by the smart contract technology. And it is also able to speak to a culture. So, I know NFT communities, quotes, like that are interested in just being a group of friends who all share the same NFT, like a Bored Ape, for example. At the same time, I know, for example, like a group of Argentinian artists who all 250 of them live fully in cryptocurrency. And the NFTs they create together are the lifeblood of their community and their culture. So for them, it is not about like the object itself uniting them, but the fact that they are creating NFTs together, uniting them. So we're seeing all different niches come up, but I really do think NFTs should sit right in between the two. Clause saying community and crypto culture.
Lowkey giant.
So the project that is close to my heart is the Museum of Crypto Art. This project began in February of 2020. It began with a team of three. And in the last 2 years, we've become 18. And in that time, NFTs have taken on a whole new meme quality to them. And in the beginning, we really thought about what does it mean to have a place where artists and collectors and curators and creative developers can share and come together around like crypto art. And for me, crypto art is this really small percentage of NFTs where artists have been intentionally creating artwork that relates to their freedom as an individual or their identity or maybe, what crypto culture is. It's a very native art movement.
It's a very native art movement.
Lowkey giant.
And the Museum of Crypto Art is close to my heart because it's become a very personal project. We showcase NFTs in virtual reality in different art exhibitions. So we work with a metaverse architect named Untitled XYZ. We build these like crazy environments where people can immerse themselves in crypto art. So like, for example, we have like a psychedelic art section of our museum, which is super cool to spend time in. Another really cool experiment that I consider close to my heart as well is our token. Our token is meant to be a governance token so that people can start to curate and govern this museum over time. And that is a really interesting way to think about the concept of a museum itself, because you have, your original traditional museums, which are really owned by the donors. And for us, we want to decentralize completely at some point. And so we're building the tools to do that. So we have an Ethereum development team run by Renee, and he is creating like the smart contract basis for a museum to exist in VR and in the metaverse in a way that people can curate it themselves. And it's not just a top-down exercise. So the museum project is about artistry. It's about people finding their highest values. And it's about immersing yourself in a metaverse that really ignites imagination. And the community has really naturally come together with the museum, where we are so happy, and I'm so excited every day to work on the project because I get to speak to artists, I get to talk to developers, and I just keep learning how people are using crypto to change their lives.
Telemetry and launch condition.
Affirmative.
Missile and internal DC.
Affirmative.
Pressurization complete.
Affirmative.
So my vision of an evolving future is grounded in a really, really intense optimism in the power of single individuals to like change entire systems and minds and fields. Because I have very, very limited faith in big governments and big corporations and their ability to do what is right and what is equitable.
Lowkey giant.
So, just like we've seen over the last couple of years, I think there's a lot of distractions we are being fed by the algorithms that run our social media. I think COVID kind of ignited this like, you need to go inside your house and listen, otherwise you're going to die kind of mentality. And
I just see so much fear being sown in the ground by big organizations.
So I'm really interested in an evolving future where people have the power to create what they want to create, and they're able to reach other like-minded people. That is in like science, that's in art, that's also in politics. And I really hope in 10 to 20 years, for example, with the Museum of Crypto Art project, we want the museum to be run by a virtual AI curator. And today we are building a artificially intelligent GPTJ custom model, which is going to be able to look at all the different artworks in this museum and tell you a story about it. You know, I do have faith in technology, for sure. I'm 100% a techno-futurist, but I have more faith in individual human beings and how they can find each other and create together. So it's a dystopian vision, but it's also an optimistic one if we can find the right tools and the right ways to uplift people.
Lowkey Giant.